Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth with Team Epic Reads. On today's episode of Epic Reads DIY, we are making a project based on Infinite in Between by Carolyn Mackler. It is a book that's all about high school, from the very beginning to the very end, and all of the amazing and sometimes crazy things that happen in between. So today's project, you're going to be making a photo memory board, because that's what high school is all about, making memories and having them last forever. Let's talk about what you need for today's project. First, you're going to need a piece of fabric. It can be any pattern or color that you want. My piece is about 18 by 20, and I went with the yellow chevron because I want to match the cover as always. You're going to need a piece of foam board, and again, any size that you want, except you definitely want it to be smaller than your piece of fabric. So I went with 14 by 14. You're going to need some Fiberfill, also known as cotton batting. You're not going to need a lot of it. About a cup's worth is probably all you need. Should look like a really awesome snowball. You're going to need a pair of scissors, a pencil, hot glue gun and some glue sticks, ribbons in any color or pattern of your choosing, and you want them to be about ½ inch wide. Also gonna need some fascinators. I got these super blingy ones. This is taking the sparkle to a whole new level, and I'm really excited about it. These are actually also called brads. Who knew? I had no idea. But basically, it's really just the fascinators that have those two little hooks on the bottom that you then put together on the other side. Lastly, and this one is optional, a craft needle. You can get this at any craft store, and this is just going to help us poke some holes through our foam board. Okay, the first step is that we're going to attach our fabric to our foam board. So I'm going to lay my piece of fabric down, and I want the pattern side to be on the bottom, so inside out. And then I'm going to lay my piece of foam board right on top of it, leaving about 2 inches of fabric on all of the sides. So first, I'm going to just glue down the top of this. So I'm going to make a row of hot glue across my foam board. Easy breezy. And I'm just going to fold over the top. So maybe just let it sit for a minute, and then when it is cool enough to touch, go ahead and lay that down. Now I'm going to go ahead and do one of the sides. Now for the first step, we're only going to be doing 2 of the sides, because then we want to be able to leave time to put our batting in. So you're only going to be doing the top side and one of the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on the left side here. And I'm just going to go ahead and fold that over. Now you should have 2 sides glued down, top and one of the sides. So now it's time to put in our Fiberfill. So I'm going to flip this over so we have our side facing, and please don't tell my mother that I didn't iron this and that it's very wrinkly, because she'll be very upset with me. I'm going to take a little bit of the Fiberfill, and again, you just want a little bit of this. You don't want it to be thick like a quilt. So I'm just going to kind of spread this out a little bit, make sure it's going to be really thin, and then I'm just going to go ahead and open up that fold since we didn't glue down all of the sides, and I'm going to place it into the corner. Spread it out. You can do some more spreading once you have it laid out. So now you're just going to go ahead and cover this up and flip it over, and then glue down our last 2 sides. So one of the things that I actually love the most about this book is that it not only talks about high school, but it talks about all of high school. And not just from one person's perspective, but 5 teens. They meet on the first day of high school when they're paired in the same orientation group, and they agree to write letters to their future selves that they will read on graduation day. And it literally goes through every single year of their high school experience, and how sometimes they're in each other's lives and sometimes they're not, and the ways that they overlap in relationships and friendships. And it really just gets at all of that really real high school emotion, and all of the drama and the learning and the good and the bad. And it was really great for me reading it as an adult, but I think that teens will just absolutely love reading about this very real high school experience. Okay, so if you want to go around and just make sure that all of your corners are glued down and do some touch-ups, now's your time to do it. Okay, the next step is to get our ribbon ready. We're basically going to be making a series of X's across of this, and the ribbon's going to be crisscrossing each other. So I basically just want to measure out my ribbon so that I have the right sizes. So first I'm going to just take my blue ribbon, and I'm going to lay it across diagonally. And I don't want to go right into the corner, because I want this to fold really nicely around the back. So you want to be kind of just near the corner. And again, you want to have a couple of inches of extra on the sides to leave room for the gluing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Okay, so now that I've cut all my pieces of ribbon, I'm gonna go ahead and map out where I want all my crisscrosses to go. So first I'm gonna start with just one simple X. So I'm gonna lay that one flat. And then I'm gonna take my next one and I'm just gonna complete that X right across. So my first X should be right in the middle. And I'm gonna map out my next X's. So basically you're just crisscrossing again, so you're making another X. So I'm gonna take my next piece and I'm gonna have that go up here. I'm not gonna make my pencil marks yet because I wanna make sure that everything looks even. So I'm gonna lay all the ribbons out first. So then you're gonna want another one here. So then we'll have that X. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through with my pencil and make some little marks underneath those X's. And those pencil marks are gonna be covered, so don't worry about them. Okay, so starting with my first piece of ribbon, and I know that it's right over that little pencil mark that I made right in the center, I'm just gonna hold this tight. I'm gonna flip this back over. We can cut off any excess later if we have to. Back on this side, then I'm gonna come right across and hit my X mark with my pencil, and then flip this back over to glue. If you don't end up exactly on your pencil marks with this, it's no big deal. Okay, so now we have our first piece of ribbon. Yay! Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put all my ribbon on using my pencil marks to guide me. So now we're gonna go ahead and attach our brads, or your little fasteners, right inside the middle of all those crisscrosses. So if you have a crafting needle, this is where that's gonna be your friend, because we're gonna take our crafting needle and start at the center of your crisscross, and you're just gonna poke it all the way through and kind of turn it around to make that hole. So you can see from this side that it went all the way through to the other side. You might be able to poke through just using your fastener, but if you have a little bit of trouble, this is gonna be really helpful. So I'm just gonna keep kind of turning around. Okay, so now that we've used our crafting needle, I'm gonna go ahead and put our brad through. Perfect. So when it comes out on the other side, you might not have a lot of room left. So you can see on mine's not very big, but that's okay. We can use our crafting needle again to help us separate these two little tongs here and push them down, just like that. Our first brad is attached. It looks so cute. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on all of the crisscrosses. Okay, look, we're all finished. Ta-da! It's so pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in a photo of me and my book bestie and my favorite quote from Infinite in Between. Perfect. Now this is a great gift for back to school, or something for you and your friends to make for your bedrooms, for your dorm rooms. A really great way to kick off the school year.